Welcome to Colorful Thought Podcast. I'm sorry, everybody, for being a little late. A little difficult with some stuff here, but we are now here. We're about to go live, and we got my man on. He's going to talk to us about IULs. And while we're talking about IULs, I'm going to go ahead and let him introduce himself. Go ahead, my man.
Hey, good morning. Well, good afternoon here where I'm at. I want to say good morning to you all, everybody that have taken out their time to tune in and listen. I'm grateful. My name is James Triplett from Starkville, Mississippi. I am married to the wonderful wife of Latoya Triplett for 16 years. We have 3 beautiful children. I am an entrepreneur. I own my own finance industry where I started my own brokerage firm. I've been in the business now for several years. I'm excited about it to bridge the wealth gap between our Black Americans to see, giving a clue to why there's a huge wealth gap. And so I love the education of what I do. And I'm excited just to be a part of this podcast to bring you information on today about IULs and how powerful they are.
Great. That's what I'm talking about, everybody. Everybody can hear me? All right, we're going to talk about, so right now I'm going to go ahead. We're going to, let me tell you a little experience of what I know and how this can actually benefit you in a good way. If you ever heard about being your own banker, this is one of the good ways to do it. This policy is totally different than what you probably normally have with your insurance company. He's going to go into more depth with you about the difference between a regular policy and a IUL policy. But you want to really pay attention because this is the best move to make. Even if you got that 401k, you want, and those kind of type insurance retirement policies, this is way better, y'all. Listen to me. This is way better. I am myself is going to be a client with this man. I'm waiting on a certain amount to come in so I can go big with him. I am letting y'all know I have something similar to what he's about to talk about, and I know how powerful that tool is for me and how he's going to explain everything to you as he explained it to me already. You're going to see that you can make your money could be making money while you still have a great policy to use and to also put on family members. This is a great policy to start out, especially young when you got young children, or a child. Start these policies super early in their life, and you will be able to build off legacies, leave a legacy behind with this. So, as we go ahead and open up, Mr. Triplett, you can go ahead and tell them. Well, I know I got some questions for you, but I'm gonna let you just go ahead right now and explain the difference in between your policies and what other normal life policies that people have.
Yeah, so certainly. Just a brief history. Why am I here? My mom passed away at the age of 49 years old in 2019, which is not too long ago. And when she done that, man, it made me dive deeper into research. Mr. Chris, the schools don't give us education when it comes to finances and wealth. What gives us that education is books. It's the books that we read. Money, Wealth, Life Insurance. What do the Rockefellers do? Why the rich getting richer? You know, who stole my pension? It's those type of books right there that give you the financial literacy. And so as I got into this industry and I started learning about true life insurance, well, I started learning that life insurance is really for the life of you and not the death of you. So back in the early 60s and 70s, when individuals came into the black neighborhoods, they only offered them small whole life policies. They was offering those whole life policies because they didn't want to leave generational wealth for the black communities. It wasn't taught. So when we start talking about these IULs, Index Universal Life policies, these policies are not new. They have been into existence for many years. For example, those of you have heard of Stanford University, right? Leland Stanford and Jane Stanford are the founders of Stanford University. Do you know that Stanford University was almost failing, and the only way that it survived was through life insurance? Okay. Also, the same individuals that started Stanford University are the same individual. Mr. Leland Stanford is the founding father of Pacific Life. Pacific Life is a 200-year-old company, right? Do you know J.C. Penney, Mr. James Cash Penney, in the 1929 when the Great Depression hit, Mr. James Cash Penney only had 3 stores. And guess what he used to make his store survive and turn J.C. Penney into what it is today? You guessed right. Universal Lives. It's for the life of you. Not only that, Mr. Ray Kroc. Mr. Ray Kroc is one of the world's most prolific men when it comes to building wealth in real estate. But guess what he used? He used cash value policies. That's what he used. Walt Disney. And the list goes on and on and on and on. Banks owns trillions of dollars in life insurance. They own life insurance. Matter of fact, when banks fail, guess who bailed them out? You guessed right, the FDIC. And now there's an article that had just been put out that banks have to pay back the insurance that they used to get bailed out. And said, and guess who's going to pay these high fees? You guess right. It's going to be the depositors, the one that's going to go and deposit their monies in the bank. So how do IULs work? IUL worked off compounding interest at a tax-free retirement. The thing is, what makes it tax-free? You never borrow money you never pay taxes on debt that you borrow. Do you know, according to the tax code 7702 subsection A, it's an IRS code that allows you to put money into a life insurance policy, and it allows it to be tax-free as long as it doesn't go over what they call the MEC, the Modified Endowment Contract. As long as it don't go over that contract, it makes it tax-free. And as we do one-on-ones, I'll be glad to share with you what that is. But the compounding interest of IULs, you're getting on an average of 7%. 7% compounding interest on top of the money that you put in there. No bank is giving you that. And then it's a floor, guaranteed no losses. Guaranteed no losses. So the in 401ks and mutual funds and IRAs, they're called variable accounts. And why they're called variable accounts is because they are variating. They go up and down, up and down. So when we're in a bad economy like we are right now, people that are in 401ks, mutual funds, and IRAs have already lost anywhere from 18 to 25% of their money right now. The numbers are constantly moving. Those are the people that are losing their money, and it takes years to get their money back. So that's a brief rundown of the power of IULs. Not only that, Mr. Chris, they also have living benefits. Meaning, if you were to have something critical happen to you, that policy, whatever the face amount is, let's say we have a $1 million face amount, $1 million. If you have a critical illness, that policy would pay up to 90% of that $1 million if you have a heart attack, stroke, major organ transplant. That's money while you're living. We're not talking about being dead.
90%, folks. Y'all heard that. Check your policy. I need everybody to pull out their policies and check your policy and see what does it pay out while you're alive. Well, let me ask you this. Why do you think a lot of people haven't heard about the IULs?
A lot of people haven't heard about it because it's like this. They say, especially to keep it away from a black man, what you do, put it in a book.
Correct.
It is known as the best kept secret in America today. The only reason that it's hitting the mainstream media now is because we're in what they call the Enlightenment age, the information age, Enlightenment age. Pretty much everybody has this. Everybody has a phone. Everybody has it right in the palm of their hand. So now the information is getting out. Everybody is able to access it. So the reason that this haven't been heard of is because it's been one of the well-kept secrets. Wealthy people have utilized this for centuries. I ain't talking about decades. I'm talking about centuries.
Right. Okay. Now there's a lot of financial products available for the average American citizen. Why do you feel that your favorite is the IUL and many other products that individual can be portfolio?
The reason this is my favorite is because I go back and I study. You have to ask the question, why or where did the 401k come from? Brief
Correct.
history moment. 1929, when the Great Depression took place, people took out, they left the stock market. They lost everything. So from 1929 to 1954, Mr. Chris, nobody was putting money into the stock market. Nobody.
Okay.
And so when 1971 came, that's when they implemented and they took the gold standard away from the American dollar and made it the petrodollar. The reason they did that was to implement putting money back into the stock market. So they turned it into the petrodollar, making it to where every country had to purchase oil using the American dollar. Of course, that started the incline on the stock market. Then
Okay.
1978 enters. When 1978 came, they still seen that American people were not putting their money in the stock market. So guess what they came up with? It's the Tax Revenue Act of 1978. The Tax Revenue Act of 1978 implemented the 401ks. 401 subsection K. That's where the 401k comes from. Mr. Ted Bennett is the one that helped implemented this bill or this act. And he also says it's one of the biggest mistakes that they have created because it made Wall Street richer. So when it comes to why I like the IULs, is because IULs have always been invented even before the 401ks. It's called index funding. And so it's guaranteed no losses and it builds wealth over a long period of time and is tax free. Individuals that are in those variable accounts like 401ks, mutual funds, I'm not talking bad about them because they're beneficial to some people. But once you turn 65, you enter into another tax bracket because you don't have tax deductibles no more. Your kids are grown. If you don't have no business, then your house is paid off. Then guess what? You go into a higher tax bracket, and that 401k and those mutual funds is mandatory that you take it out at 73 now. Mandatory.
Oh, okay.
IULs are not mandatory.
Okay.
Doesn't have an age limit. And
Wow.
so when you get ready to retire, you have to pay taxes on that money. And then guess what? You enter into a higher tax bracket now. And so now you're seeing people that are getting taxed on their Social Security because they're having to take out their 401k, and the 401k is considered earned income now. IULs are not like that. Index annuities are not like that. It's not considered earned income.
Okay. So is the IUL, is it for everyone though?
IULs can be for everybody, but not everybody will have an IUL. Simply because a lot of people wait till the last minute. They wait till they get a health challenge. You have to be approved for these IULs. Now, doesn't that right there, not credit wise, not running your credit, but you have to be approved based on how well you've taken care of your body. They will not approve you if you are high risk, meaning if you already got extreme medical histories. So that's why it's important when that baby turned 15 days old, guess what we do? We go ahead and station and put an IUL on that baby. That's what the Rockefellers do. I'm reading a book right now. This is education. It's called What Would the Rockefellers Do? 15 days old, that baby got $1 million policy on 15
Right.
days.
And that,
So is it
yeah.
for everybody? Everybody won't get approved because you got to take your health into consideration. But there's options out there for you.
Okay, good. Because I have a lot of people ask me that yesterday, and I told them I didn't really truly know the answer, that they had to tune in to hear the answer for that question that I asked. Um, I had one of my buddies. He's ex-football player. He's the main one that wanted me to ask that question. Now, um, is the IUL government by the regular body or tax code as such as the government?
No. So that tax code that I give you, 7702
Mm-hmm.
subsection 8, that code now, all right, there's a certain, here's what happened. Remember what happened in 9/11.
Uh huh.
All right, 9/11 was the biggest money laundering scheme in
Yes.
America.
Try to tell people.
Why? They laundered money through life insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about millions of dollars. There wasn't even a cap on how much you can put through a life insurance policy. That's how they laundered so much money. And life insurance was one of the tools that they used to launder money into their personal accounts. So what happened was they had to put a code on it and make it a restriction now that depending on how you structure the policy, you have certain amount of how much money you can put in there a year. If you go over that number, then it's going to enter into what they call a contract, a modified endowment contract. And now you'll be subject to paying taxes if you go over that number. But me being a good agent that I am, I won't allow that to happen to you. That's why we have one-on-ones and we'll be honest about how much you want to put away every year into these structures, policies.
Now that's awesome. Y'all hear that? Now the man's gonna look out for you. He said he's gonna look out for you. I'm putting my name on this man. He's gonna look out for you. Like I said, I'm going to become a client myself. I'm just waiting on something. So I wouldn't be bringing Mr. Triplett to this podcast if I didn't believe in what he was saying at all. So y'all know I'm always on my podcast trying to give you the upper hand or show you what these others races are doing that we're not doing to seal a legacy for our children and our family members. So um, now, if you would give the top three reasons why the average middle class should try at least qualify for IUL, what would be those three reasons be?
Yes, yes. Number one, most importantly, leaving a legacy. That's what it bridges that wealth gap. You have the opportunity to leave a legacy. Number two, income protection. We're tired of seeing GoFundMe's.
Right.
GoFunding me, chicken fries.
Right.
I mean, that's we are the epitome of that. And it's time for a change. It's time for us to stop that. We run into the churches and it's so much in that. But number one, leave a legacy. Number two, income protection. In case something happens to you, that policy turns on. And number three, tax-free retirement. It's gonna come to the point where you're gonna retire. You're going to retire one day.
Right.
If you're not gonna retire, it's gonna come where, hey, we all know that we will leave this place, right? We
Right.
all know that. But the fact is, what are we leaving behind? What are we leaving behind? Good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. So what are we leaving behind? Let's those are the three reasons why I say importantly that the middle class should do this and not get stuck on what they have made a household name with the 401ks. Not saying that's bad, but let's think outside the box. Let's be open-minded.
Yes, we definitely got to be open minded because of fact, like you said, we have to build a legacy for it because no one else is going to do it for us. And don't think because that all these policies are going to be high. Think about all the money that you've been wasting on certain things that you really didn't need, that didn't even benefit you or it didn't even help you make money in the long run. I have told y'all many times over. Me and my wife have did these type policies. We'll put money in it, and and let the money make money for us, where we don't have to work. We in our retirement, but it's no sense of breaking your back to retire for somewhere else company to give you a small something. There's no sense of you retire in a way to where you get sick, where you gotta retire and then you living on your SSI that you can't live on. Start now with this type policy, IAU policy, and grow your money and have a benefit health insurance on you that you know, one, your money's making money. Two, that you can draw from this policy. And three, you can return the money back when you want to. What other policies that you have in your house or on you or your children or on your family that allows you to do that right now? If you got one, then great. But if you don't have one, Mr. Triple is here to let you know how to get that. We're going to open up the phone lines. You can call in right now if you got questions about the IU or any question that's going to concern this podcast. Call in at 407 718 1186. The line is open. Now, a lot of people want to know when I say make they money can make money in this policy. Can you kind of explain that to them?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So this is how your money makes money. It's the power of compounding interest. Albert Einstein, who did not create compounding interest, he just utilized it. There's a rule that you should use when you're entering into any account. It's called the rule of 72. All right. He says compounding interest like this. He said, they who understands compound interest earns it. They who don't always will pay for it. In other words, people that know about compounding interest will put their money in accounts that give them the money on that where their money is making money on top of their money. So you're talking about depending on how much money you're putting away, you're talking about if you're storing away $20,000 a year, and then in the next 5 years you're looking up, man, you got 100, 200 grand. That's coming from the compounding interest. Once again, that's something that I love to go over and explain to you, and I will do the calculation and break it down and show you how powerful compounding interest is. Be late on that credit card and see what happened. See how that credit card will get their compounding interest.
Right. And that's exactly
Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And that's exactly what all these bills do. When you are late, that compound interest come on as a late fee. And
Yep.
you have to pay that. And they're like you don't want to pay that late fee. You want to keep paying that bill. And watch that late fee keep adding up on you. Because now it's part of the fee that you have to, monthly fee that you have to pay. It becomes that. And that's what we are trying to tell you. It's no sense of being out here unprepared. It seems like our people get nervous to talk about life policies. Like, why are you trying to rush me into the grave? We're not trying to rush you into the grave. We're trying to make sure you're prepared before you go in the grave. Let me give you a story. My father was sick for a long time. Long time. My father had cancer. My father waited till it was almost time to croak to get a policy. And because he died and he didn't have a policy for 2 years, I wasn't able to collect. So I had to pay out of pocket to cremate my father. And that's what most of us do. We wait till the last minute. It doesn't work like that, people. Get this early. Make money, let your money make money for you. This is something, a policy that you can use that money for other things. I'm always on my podcast bringing gentlemen or ladies like this calling out to help you improve your life so you can, if you're going to work hard for someone, work hard for yourself.
Right.
Work hard for yourself. Structure yourself like these Rockefeller, the book he just showed you. I read it. I read many of the books about Rockefeller and the top 5 wealthy families. They all do the exact same thing. They got these type policies. They got trust. I know they talk about it in the movies, trust babies and all that stuff. We just think it's entertainment. They telling you what they got. They telling you what they got and how they built it. They put it in books. He just held up the book. He just showed you. They talk about it. They have no problem sharing the information, but they know you ain't gonna pick up no book. And that's the problem. We have to pick up a book to get the lifestyle achievement that we want in life.
Yes, sir.
It's not just going to come to you and drop in your lap unless you hit the lotto or something. Then that's a totally different story. But Ms. Drip is trying to give you something to start building a legacy for your family. That is the most important thing is to build a legacy. And this is one of the tools that you can start off with. Now, with me saying that, Mr. Ripper, what is the average payment, down payment, or structure for an average consumer?
Yeah, so all depends on what an individual is saving, to be honest with you.
Okay.
And I have some people that comes up and ask me and they say, hey, I'm only saving $500 a month. Well, I'm not taking their whole, I don't take the money. I advise them. I'm like, well, if you're only saving $500 a month, of course, I'm not going to tell you to put this whole $500 in this IUL. Take $150. Take $150. Now, of course, the more money that you can put in these things, the better it is. But, even if you're a baby, you have a baby. We start your baby off $100 a month, $1,200 a year. That's nothing. Man, we spending that in Chick-fil-A, McDonald's,
Right.
Burger King, all this bad toxic food. We're spending that, but you're locked in. Your payments don't rise. You have now you can fluctuate your payment. It won't increase, but you can always lower it. That's the flexibility of an IUL. That's why I like it. One more thing. Here's another thing about IULs and whole life that they won't tell you. In a whole life policy, which is a WL, whole life policies, they are not bad. But the cash value that you're building in a whole life policy, if you don't use that cash value while you're living and you pass away, that cash value will go back to the insurance company. It's how they're designed. IULs, I do not structure them that way. The cash value that you're building in an IUL, if you were to pass away, it will go to the beneficiary. That's the difference. That's one of the differences a lot of people don't know about. And I love sharing that with them because there are people out there that got whole life policies and don't know that, well, I thought my family was going to get the cash value. No, that's not how it works with a whole life because it's called a level plan.
Level plan. You heard that. It's a different. Now, I have a whole life policy, y'all. And that's why I'm looking to transfer because of that one thing. I thought the same thing that if I pass, they's going to get the cash value. So y'all know what I'm about to do with that whole lot. I'm about to make sure I give me that cash, go buy me something else, invest it and put it over here in the IAU. So I'm going to be getting them every time mine's build up, take it out, put it in the IUL. So I'm letting y'all know this is the route to go. You heard it. You can start at a little bit of $100 for a child right now, $1,200 a year. We spend, like you said, we spend that on. Most of us spend that a day, a week, and just think
Yeah.
about how much money would that 1,200 would be bringing you back, where you can become your own bank. And that's another thing that, and Mr. Trippett, let me know if you agree with me. I always tell people, let's take our money out of the banks because the banks ain't gonna give you number 0.1%. Take everything that you got out of your savings and your checking and put in one of these policy, IUL policy. Now you just became your own bank. Now, I want them to hear from you. What is the how long does it take for you to open up a policy and be able to borrow from that policy?
Yeah, the moment that you open this policy up, it's called the free look period. It's called 10 days. You have 10 days free look. After 10 days, you have your money that's available. You have policy value that's available already and within 10 days. So if an individual say, you know what, hey, I'm gonna do $5,000 a year. Now you have the cost of insurance and then you have your money that's working for you. So let's say if you're paying the cost of insurance, that cost of insurance that year is $400. And then the rest of it is in the policy value. If something happens and you say, man, I need to borrow the money, you have it within 2 to 3 days. Whatever's in that policy value is in your account. A check is written to you. So that's what I love about it. It doesn't take long. And yes, you're right. I tell individuals, if you got your money in a bank account or a savings account because you're just you want to save money, then we might want to reverse and look at let's revisit this thing right here. The only money that I have in my bank account is the money that I need to pay my bills and the money that I need that I can grab real quick in case I have a blowout or a wash machine goes out right away. but it's not there so I can say, hey, I'm making money off of that. No, actually, do you know that if your money is in a savings account, they charge you? They charge you because it's a risk for them to have it there.
Right. And you see that? That's what I've been trying to tell y'all. Now y'all just heard from someone else totally different. And me and him have not even spoke on this. I preach about this all the time. Take your money out of the banks. Get these policies. I'm everybody that I deal with, I'm finna start bringing them on this podcast so y'all can see how I built my wealth. Me and my wife built our wealth. We went only from $100 some thousand to $700 some thousand a year now. And it's only because of these type policy and the people that I deal with. And these are the same type of people I'm going to bring on where y'all can do the exact same thing I'm doing. We are doing over here at the Wars House. It's easy to make money for you, where you don't have to break your back and you can enjoy life. That's what you need to do, y'all. You got to get this policy. Put this policy on every family member. Get you a trust. Now, before I go into the trust thing about the policy, Mr. Triple, now when it comes to IUL, is it are you able to put that in the trust and coexist those two join together?
Yes, sir. Irrevocable trust. That's exactly what they do. They tie these things into an irrevocable trust. It's so much to cover on this. One of the reasons that you want to have an irrevocable trust or having an IUL is because it protects you from probate.
Yes.
If you are in a state that has probate and you don't have an irrevocable trust, or if you don't have a policy, all your money that's tied up in that bank account, all your land is going to go straight to probate court. That's exactly where it's going. You'll end up being like Prince or what's his name, the Black Panther guy. Those two individuals right there are the top two that I know off of my head that got tied up in probate and family didn't get half of their assets. Prince left $156 million and his family only got $6 million after probate. Didn't understand financial literacy. Didn't understand it.
And
Yeah.
you see that a lot with, with me playing basketball. I didn't know this back in my days, but you see this a lot with the athletes get married or die, and they think they're about to leave a lot to their loved ones, and like I said, probate, they takes it because you have to understand with the policy, IUL policy, and then being in a trust, you have to understand the difference between a trust and a will. A will can be compromised; it can be changed at any given time. Well, if that judge feel like that other party says, and they feel like they should be entitled to more. That's what he's talking about. You put this in the trust. You are the judge. You are the state attorney of that trust. Nobody could change that trust, and no probate court. Nobody. What you put down in that trust for your IUL, it stands law. Like the old saying, you control it from the grave because nobody could change it once you put it into your trust. And that's what I've been telling y'all. Y'all just heard it from the man himself. Get your IUL, get your trust, invocable trust, and watch what happens. I'm telling you, life is so simple. Now, not only with what he just saying, this is a totally different podcast, but I'm just giving you a little brief. We're about to learn how to get total control of their property where you don't have to pay taxes. So just imagine how much money you'll save that you can put into this IUL and grow that on top of what you already got in there. You don't have to pay property taxes anymore. Stay tuned. That's coming. Now let's get back to track to the IUL. This is a beautiful tool that everybody should have. And I promise y'all, within a month, I will have mine. Regardless of what I'm waiting for comes or not, I will start me one. And me and my wife will go ahead and start one. And we will sit down with the grandbaby's parents, and we're going to put one on them. And that's how we're going to start this legacy with them, is by putting them, doing a separate trust, putting IULs on all the grandbabies, and then have the trust to be the beneficiary. And reason why I'm doing that is because when one die, that policy money will go to the trust. It would not to an individual, but to the trust, and then that trust money is going to also collect compound interest alone and put more into another policy. But that money that goes into the trust, that's how we build the legacy. So when one of us want to um, start a business or go to college, they can go into the trust, use that money, but loans and how the Rockefellers do loans, the person that's borrowed the money from the trust has a policy on them. They can take their time paying it because they know when they pass, their policy is going to go into the trust. You see how the money keeps cycling back to them, and they use it, and they using that trust money, them IULs funds to make sure everybody in their family is successful with a business or going to college or whatever they want to do, take
Yeah,
trips. That's how they keep funding these policies. These policies
yeah.
keep funding these trusts. And we don't know that
Hey,
because you know why? We're not taught about it. We're not
Mr.
taught
Chris,
about it.
Mr. Rockefeller said he learned from Vanderbilt, and Mr. Vanderbilt had wealth, but Mr. Vanderbilt didn't keep the money in the circle. It ran out right when Mr. Vanderbilt died, and then his son died shortly, and their wealth ran out. And Mr. John D. Rockefeller said, hey, he learned a valuable lesson. Keep the money in the circle. The
Mm.
Vanderbilts didn't do that. That's why you don't hear about their names like you do the Rothschilds and the
Oh,
Rockefellers,
okay.
because now they keep the money in the circle, building the irrevocable trust. I just had to, I was, yes, sir. That's, you're exactly right.
Yes. Like I said, I really preach about this over and over because that's just, it's what I'm doing. It's actually what we're doing. We only thing I have not done as of yet is the IUL and getting a separate trust so we can start putting these policies on the grandbabies. I'm going to make sure I get one on all 14 children, grandbabies that we have. We're going to put a policy on them, and trust will be the beneficiary. So believe me, Mr. James Trust, he's going to be seeing me, and he's going to be. We about to get busy, and the next time I have on, he'll be able to. Yep, Chris did all his policies just like he said he was going to do.
Yeah.
I am all about trying to build a legacy for the family. That's not just include my family, my wife's family also. We are one because we are married now. We are one family. And I'm going to bring these tools to everyone that's out there that wants to listen to us or listen to me about how to build this generation wealth. And like I said, why do we not have this for ourselves? Because one, we're never taught. We was never taught this kind of stuff. See, we was always taught to go play basketball, to entertain. Very few talked about being a doctor. Very few talked about trust and all that because we don't come from that style of life. They came from that. They down there invented this for them to keep away from us. But now the secret is out there. You heard it. This man is on here telling you the secret. It's out there. So why do we don't hear enough families up there that's doing this? Just imagine. It might not happen now, but imagine you are the ripple of the wave that started this legacy for your family. So by 10, 20 years ago, now your family is in the top five. Their legacy, your family writing books on how to build wealth. Because as long as we keep spending money in between us, we can grow a lot faster. But we like to pull down each other and spend money with the enemy. And I never understand that. So once again, IULs is a beautiful tool to have, everyone. It's not expensive to start off, but it's going to pay for it in the long run. Can you pick up the mic a little higher, please? Okay, my bad. I guess my mic was too low, somebody said. So if y'all got calls, got questions, you can type them in the YouTube page and I will definitely ask them. Or you can call in at 407-718-1186. I hope my mic is loud enough now for you, everyone. But that's where we at. Come on in. Give us a call if you want to. You can come on live. Like I said, we're taking calls at 407-718-1186. Okay, so I've been flashing you information across the board. But if you would like to give them the information also so they can actually hear from you also.
Yes, sir. One of the easiest ways is getting in contact with me is my cell number right there. I do have an office based out of Plano, Texas. But that's my website where you can just click on that link. You can go to that link right there and it'll get you right directly to my website to where you can book me. But, just call me, text me. Send me a text and we'll set up an appointment, or I'll send you the link and you can go book an appointment with me. I got on my website to where you can look at information, questions, brochures, things like that, more information. But man, I would love to really, 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 really sit down and do a one-on-one. My one-on-ones only take about 30 minutes. And then after 30 minutes, however long you want to go. but I'm here. I don't rush nobody. I love what I do. I have a passion for it. It's who I am. I want to help bridge the wealth gap. And there was one more thing that I forgot to mention too, Mr. Chris, about IULs. Do you know that if a creditor, predator, liens, wages, garnishment, lawsuits, they're all protected inside cash value IULs? Meaning if somebody tries to sue you, if somebody tries to divorce you, they can't divorce you and touch that IUL, that cash value, because it's considered life insurance. Well, best kept secret.
Wow. I didn't even know that, y'all. That is a nice secret there, because I didn't even know that. I thought it would have to at least be in a trust to even to protect it, but oh man, that's nice. Yeah, that's really nice. Hey, y'all athletes and musicians and y'all don't want to do wrong all the time out there. You better get on this IUL and protect yourself, because a lot of y'all end up broke before you know it, because y'all don't went out there and mixed over people, and people came and got all your assets, and now you looking crazy. But hey, the man told you how to get in contact with him. His information is going across the screen. Please give him a call. Now I have another question, and I know this through whole life, so I just want to see what IUL. Now, how many policy can a person put on themselves?
Man, there's no limit. There's no limit. There's people out there that I know has 4 or 5 policies on themselves. There's not a limit on a policy. As long as you're not trying to do anything, illegal, as long as something don't come up to where you're trying to, but like say if you're trying to put a policy, 4 or 5 policy on your wife, and then you're trying to knock them off, but the individual has more than one policy on them. Yes, absolutely, more than one.
More than one policy, and the policy will add up, y'all. So that lets you know you can start more than one. You can also, if you get a trust, you can put the trust as your beneficiary, so the money goes straight into the trust, and then you can write what you want, how you want to be buried in your trust, and how they can use that money, a certain type of money in that trust, to take care of your burial expenses. Now, do you recommend people to do more than one, or you think they just should do one?
I do recommend that, at least start off with one, and then as your income increase, let's just say, for instance, hey man, my income increased and I want to put more away. And then if we can't put more in that one policy, then I say, hey, let's start us another one. We can start another policy. Because remember I told you, you got that modified endowment